Well, this is interesting. Hey guys, welcome back to Jurassic Unicast. It's James here, and Chaos Theory has finished. It's over. 4 seasons is completely done. Colin Trevorrow's timeline is now officially over, and here are some positives and negatives of the show. For me, it felt very nostalgic and familiar. It was nice after Rebirth to go back to familiarity, places where we've been before, animals we've seen before. It almost felt like a prequel, and I can imagine another series along the line filling in a time gap, giving context somewhere else, maybe being a great idea. Like for me, going ahead in the timeline should be left alone, and I really enjoyed going back to something that I guess it felt like going home a little bit after what we had with Rebirth. Some of the things that I instantly liked about this show in this season particularly is the art team, how they really captured the tone and the feel of Biosyn Valley. It was really it was a great adaptation from the live action movie. It didn't really look out of place. It was almost like a mirror image of what we'd already seen before. The score was superb. It had quite a few Lost World themes from what I can remember. In some of the chaotic places, there was. I swear I heard some of the Lost World theme from the outbreak, the T-Rex outbreak in San Diego. Definitely, I heard that a few times, and it was definitely also more of a John Williams theme rather than the Michael Giacchino that we're used to from the World Series. One of the things I really liked about one of the new areas that we saw were the raptor training facility and the maze. I thought it was a really good idea to sort of work out how these animals, found their way to their prey using the laser. And obviously they're very juvenile, so it wasn't the real, the adult versions. But it was good to see the animals thinking differently. It was good to see different areas of Biosyn and, different to what we've already seen in the movies. It was also good to see some of these locations that we'd already seen also have a purpose other than just being like a lookout tower. Like they actually had a reason for them to go there. It was like a storage place. I think the Six had to go and find some information about Bumpy, and they went into one of the towers to go through the filing system on the computer, and it was really good. I mean, that sort of thing was cool, because in Dominion they used the tower to get away from the Giganotosaurus, basically to escape rather than for any particular reason, and that's when Ellie and Claire go off and do their mission. But for this, it seemed to work better, I thought. The story of the hunt for Bumpy, as ridiculous as it is, actually played out quite well, I thought, in this show. And the facility where she was found, that was quite cool. It was a bit of a different Biosyn building, and we had like a heartfelt moment when the little baby, what's it called? Oh, Smoothie. The little baby Smoothie then met Bumpy. Oh my God, it sounds stupid me saying, but it works well on camera. Honestly, because you're so you're following the story this whole time. I actually found it quite nice to see when they reunited, and also they were meeting Bumpy's partner, the other Ankylosaurus, which was in this really confined place where the Biosyn beeper went off and lured all the animals into the Biosyn Valley headquarters place, and they reunited together. And I think that was a Jurassic Park 3 Ankylosaurus, if I remember rightly. I'm not sure. Tell me what you think on that. Very interesting. But the release of Bumpy in that facility then caused the Dilophosauruses that were also in that facility to then escape, and they went into the tunnels of the connecting trains. The Biosyn Hyperloop situation that he ends up obviously meeting his demise in the movie. Well, the Dilos then follow our cast members down into those tunnels where they escape from the Dilophosaurus themselves. in the series, and then that's how they get in there, which is great because in the movie, the first thing I thought was, how the hell are these things even down here? Like, where have they even come from? There was no context whatsoever. We just had to sort of like take it at face value, and to me it didn't really make sense at all. Whereas in this, it actually showed the characters running away from them, they escape, and then they end up staying down there, and then later on in the movie we see Dodgson then getting killed by them. Moving on, I like the T-Rex and the Giga in this show. I think it did a better job at depicting these two creatures almost battling it out constantly in their territories. I like the fact that the T-Rex had a bit more of a they had a good rivalry going in throughout the whole of the 9 episodes, and they both had victories winning their territory, and it was good to see the T-Rex not be such a pushover for once, because normally in the World Series the T-Rex seems to be the ones that gets beaten up all the time, just to sort of show the bigger predator. But in this, the T-Rex held her own. She stayed in her territory, and she fought the Giganotosaurus, and he moved off away from the T-Rex. It also happened the other way round, and then of course we see the fight that happened in the movie at the end in the finale, but we don't see that in the show, which was good. I'm glad that we didn't see it in the show. I thought the Quetzalcoatl scene was pretty cool. It was interesting. I like the fact that it attacked the helicopter and we see it close up with the scale of the characters, because in the movie we don't really get that essence of scale, because you do against the plane but not against people, and it was good to see it up against the human characters, who ended up tasing it with a tranquilizer gun, firing about 5 shots, and unrealistically though, it picks up this truck and then drops it while it's half asleep. We'll get to that in a little while. I also like the tracking system thing. So in Jurassic World Dominion, they pushed the buzzer to lure all the dinosaurs back to the headquarters. In Manticorp, in the series, it was done in a ridiculous, completely unrealistic, stupid video game style controlling method of the dinosaurs, and it was really, really kiddie and pathetic. Whereas in this, it was acknowledged to not be like the Manticorp one, and it was the same idea but less ridiculous, and I really liked that. The story continuity was good. I found myself looking at my phone much less than I have done in previous installments and being bored. However, there's a lot of dialogue which we will go to later on in this video. The Mortal Peril of Ben. That was very emotional and felt real. I thought that was good. The little moments and the music really helped. The connections as to why some things didn't make sense in Dominion was made right with the story elements I found in this. And an example of that is the Dialos and how they got into Dodgson. That made much more sense using this perspective of the show. And I really like the fact that it all took place alongside the movie, but it wasn't shown like from a subjective point of view to manipulate the audience to be forced to believe that these characters were in this movie with the movie cast this whole time, almost like trying to force you to make it canon. Now, yeah, it's canon according to a lot of the official sources, and a lot of the fan base really accept this as canon. But most of this show is so ridiculous, I personally almost discard it as canon. More of like a parallel universe at the same time. However, this season really held its own, and I think if the writing and quality and I guess adult theming was as along with this sort of season, I'd have been far more on board. Now, an example of what I'm talking about here is in the last season, there was this parallel sort of, I guess, the POV from these characters in this show was in Malta, and the raptor trainer, the one with a weird hairdo, she was kind of positioned herself inside the truck that we see in the movie of Jurassic World Dominion. Now, the gap in the truck in between the 2 crates of the Atrociraptors in the movie, there's no way a human would fit down there. So the show manipulated that to force us to, know this woman was there this whole time. and it doesn't work for me in that respect. But in this, because there was no scenes directly facing what we saw in the movie, everything that happened in Biosin Valley could have actually happened because we didn't actually see it on screen. So it really, really worked, and it joined the story of Dominion really well in the climax at like a fitting time, I thought. Lastly, the other Rexes appeared, like the other ones that appeared at the end of Jurassic World Dominion. Well, apparently these are the buck and doe, but they're all brown. They all look the same. Which one's the buck? Which one's the doe? Is that green? No, it's brown. Oh, is that the green? No, that's brown too. Is this the T-Rex? I'm so confused. Is that the Rexy? Is that Rexy? Oh no, wait, there it is. Oh no, that's Rexy again. What I found really amusing about this is, me personally, don't think it's the buck and doe, because the buck died in Jurassic Park 3. But other than that, I think in this show, they don't show it being the buck and doe. It's just 3 T-Rexes, and they're so dark you can't tell the difference in the colours of them all. It's not Big E.T. or Little E.T. It's just 2 Rexes as depicted in the film. Not the stupid fan service with no context. So I thought that was really good. Like, you might not like what I've just said. You might disagree with me. I don't care. Now, for the negatives. Ben should have died. Simple as that. Ben should have died. There's no reason why that guy should have survived in this show. He got impaled in the abdomen by a Thagomizer from a Stegosaurus type animal. Could have been a Kentrosaurus. I can't quite remember. Either way, there's no way that guy should have survived. He was going for about 3 hours without having any clinical help at all whatsoever. And then he went through like some sort of dream-like moment, almost like he was in the afterlife, not quite past. It was like a realm. And I thought he'd died. And I was thinking, fair play to these writers. They've done it. They've finally done it in the final episode. They've killed a main character that's gonna, bring mourning to all the others. But no, he survives. He heroically survives again.
Please remind him to visit that new heart specialist.
A heart specialist? What for?
If we get this DNA, millions of lives are saved.
Maybe.
Benjamin! Dude, you died and you didn't tell us!
He should have just died after that heroic action. He'd have gone out an absolute hero. Now he's just an injured man that somehow can take a Thagomizer to the stomach. But it's a kid's show. But they're the sort of things, in my opinion, that let the show down. Now, the other negative, which is probably my main biggest concern of this show, generally, from season 1 of Camp Cretaceous all the way down to season 4 of Chaos Theory, is just the nonsense conversations. I don't care about their relationships. That's the stuff that's like makes me want to pause and scratch my eyes out. No, I just want to see the story. The story of this show is really good. The action, them getting from A to B, that sort of stuff is great. Getting into intense moments, doing something, talking about whether they should say sorry to one of the characters is just a waste of airtime. This show could have been 5 to 6 episodes. Real intense, brilliant storytelling, instead of having these stupid filler conversations that no one cares about. And I don't think kids would care either. They honestly wouldn't. I found myself on my phone on these moments because I just didn't want it. One of the other things that bugged me was that Dodgson looked like Paul O'Grady. Now, if you don't know who Paul O'Grady is, rest in peace, Paul O'Grady. He was a British comedian that he used to dress up doing a tribute act called Lily Savage, and also probably more famous in more recent times was that he worked for the Love of Dogs and used to go around to dog homes to rescue them and things like that. He was just a generally not a lovely man that used to do a lot for charity. But this guy really reminded me of him, and it proper made me laugh. The Giganotosaurus not making a human kill. I can't believe it. Even in 7 episodes, it still didn't kill a human. But that's a minor thing. In the grand scheme of things, it's minor. The rest of the stuff it did, I thought was pretty awesome. Now, Brooklyn's dark Jurassic mate was stupid. I just didn't like. I don't know why he needed to appear again. But then I guess they needed someone to get them into the facility. They could have done it another way. They could have just seen an opening and, you know, done it more of a clever way and just got inside. But instead, they had the silly, you know, banter and the silly and the more stupid dialogue again, where these sort of characters just take you out of the show. They don't need to be in it. Now, there's just a few more left. The Quetzal picking up a 2-ton car and also dropping it from 100 feet in the air. Oh, by the way, these characters all survived this. No main characters died at all. But overall, I'd say I'm much more positive than I am negative about this show. It's a real solid entry. I think the story ended very well, and there certainly is a place for more storytelling like this in the future. I mean, it's in our future, not future in the timeline of the program, but definitely more in future. I'd like to see more animation or even live action series, but I guess to place it somewhere else in the timeline. Let these characters just lie and get on with their lives now. It was a solid 8 out of 10, I would say, for what it is. Wasn't perfect. Had some really stupid moments, which I think makes it, you know, lowers the level a little bit. For me, it's more dialogue based, but probably the most solid entry to go alongside the movies since Camp Cretaceous season 3. Anyway, thanks for listening. Tell me what your thoughts are. If you've listened this long, leave a comment on what your thoughts were of Chaos Theory season 4, and yeah, what your ranking is. Till next time, only one thing left to say: life will find a way. Bye bye.